Little House on the Prairie was not just a TV show. It was a generation. When it premiered in 1974, millions of American families gathered around their televisions to watch stories of hope, hardship, and love on the frontier. But behind the warm memories and familiar faces, time brought dramatic changes. Some cast members went on to legendary careers. Others quietly disappeared from the spotlight, and several are no longer with us. What really happened to? Based on the books of Laura Ingalls Wilder, Little House on the Prairie aired from 1974 to 1983 and became one of the most beloved family dramas in television history. Led by Michael Landon as Charles Ingalls, the series introduced unforgettable characters who felt like real members of our own families. Many of the actors were very young when the show began, and their lives changed forever after it ended. Over the decades, their journeys took unexpected turns, marked by success, struggles, and in some cases, heartbreaking endings. Now, we begin with those Little House stars who have passed away. Actors whose performances left a lasting legacy, whose lives extended far beyond Walnut Grove, and whose stories deserve to be remembered. Their memories live on through the characters we will never forget. 21. Melissa Gilbert. Laura Ingalls Wilder. Melissa Gilbert was born on May 8, 1964 in Los Angeles, California, and was adopted just one day after her birth. She was only 9 years old when she began filming Little House on the Prairie in 1974, making her one of the youngest leads on American television at the time. Over 9 seasons, viewers watch her grow up on screen, from a mischievous child to a determined young woman. When the series ended in 1983, Melissa was 19 years old and already deeply associated with the character of Laura Ingalls Wilder. After Little House, she starred in numerous television movies throughout the 1980s and 1990s and became a familiar face in dramatic roles. One of her most significant achievements came years later when she served as president of the Screen Actors Guild from 2001 to 2005. In 2026, Melissa Gilbert is 61 years old, turning 62 later in the year. She remains active as an author, public speaker, and advocate for performers, and her legacy as Laura continues to resonate with generations of fans. 20. Melissa Sue Anderson. Mary Ingalls Kendall. Melissa Sue Anderson was born on September 26, 1962 in Berkeley, California. She was 11 years old when she joined Little House on the Prairie in 1974, portraying Mary Ingalls, the serious and responsible eldest sister. One of the most powerful moments in the series came when Mary lost her eyesight, a storyline filmed when Melissa was only 15 years old. Her mature and emotional performance earned widespread praise and left a lasting impression on audiences. Melissa remained with the show until 1981 and was 18 when she stepped away from the role. After Little House, she appeared in films and television projects including Happy Birthday to Me and several dramatic TV movies. During the 1990s, she chose to leave Hollywood behind, focusing on family and writing. She later moved to Canada and became a naturalized citizen. In 2026, Melissa Sue Anderson is 63 years old and lives a quiet, private life. Despite her early exit from fame, her portrayal of Mary Ingalls remains one of the most unforgettable performances in the series. 19. Alison Arngrim. Nellie Olson Dalton. Alison Arngrim was born on January 18, 1962 in New York City and was 12 years old when she first appeared as Nellie Olson in 1974. Her character quickly became one of the most notorious villains in television history. Alison's performance was so convincing that viewers often struggled to separate the actress from the character. Throughout the series, she balanced cruelty with humor, making Nellie unforgettable. When Little House on the Prairie ended in 1983, Alison was 21 years old. After the show, she appeared on popular series such as The Love Boat and Fantasy Island, but eventually found her true voice in theater, comedy, and advocacy work. She later became a strong public advocate for abuse survivors and mental health awareness, openly sharing her own experiences. Alison also wrote a revealing memoir about her life and career. In 2026, Alison Arngrim is 64 years old and remains active through fan events and public speaking, having transformed a hated character into a beloved pop culture icon. 18. Dean Butler. Almanzo Wilder. Dean Butler was born on May 20th, 1956, in Prince George, British Columbia, Canada. He joined Little House on the Prairie in 1979 at the age of 23, stepping into the role of Almanzo Wilder, Laura Ingalls' future husband. His arrival marked a turning point in the series, introducing romance and emotional depth to Laura's storyline. Dean's calm and steady presence quickly made Almanzo a fan favorite. When the series ended in 1983, Dean was 27 years old. After Little House, he continued acting in television, appearing in shows such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Jags, and Murder, She Wrote. Over time, he transitioned away from acting and moved into producing and executive roles within the entertainment industry. In 2026, Dean Butler is 69 years old and lives a quieter life, occasionally participating in interviews and retrospectives. His portrayal of Almanzo Wilder remains one of the most cherished elements of the show's later seasons. 17. Lindsay Greenbush. Carrie Ingalls. Lindsay Greenbush was born on May 25th, 1970 in Los Angeles, California, and shared the role of Carrie Ingalls with her twin sister Lindsay. She was just 4 years old when she began appearing on Little House on the Prairie in 1974. As the youngest Ingalls daughter, her role may have been small, but her presence added warmth and realism to the family dynamic. Lindsay remained part of the series until it ended in 1983, making her 13 years old at the conclusion of the show. Unlike many child actors, she chose not to pursue a long career in Hollywood. After a few additional appearances, she stepped away from the entertainment industry entirely. In 2026, Lindsay Greenbush is 55 years old and lives a private life far from the spotlight. Even so, her role as Carrie Ingalls continues to be remembered fondly by fans around the world. 16. Matthew Labyorteaux. Albert Quinn Ingalls. Matthew Labyorteaux was born on December 8, 1966 in Los Angeles, California. He joined Little House on the Prairie in 1977 at just 10 years old, portraying Albert Quinn Ingalls, the adopted son of Charles and Caroline Ingalls. Albert quickly became one of the most emotionally complex characters on the series, and Matthew's performance stood out for its depth and realism at such a young age. Many of the show's most dramatic storylines revolved around Albert, including themes of illness, addiction, and personal struggle. When Little House ended in 1983, Matthew was 16 years old. After the series, he continued acting in both live-action and voice roles, including appearances in films and animated projects. He also worked extensively as a voice actor in video games and animated series. In 2026, Matthew Labyorteaux is 59 years old. He lives a relatively private life, but remains respected for delivering one of the most powerful child performances in the history of Little House on the Prairie, leaving a lasting emotional impact on viewers. 15. Lindsay Greenbush. Carrie Ingalls. Lindsay Greenbush was born on May 25, 1970 in Los Angeles, California, and shared the role of Carrie Ingalls with her twin sister Sydney. She was only 4 years old when she began filming Little House on the Prairie in 1974. As one of the youngest cast members, Lindsay grew up almost entirely on the show, appearing throughout its 9-season run. When the series ended in 1983, she was 13 years old. Like her sister, Lindsay appeared in a few projects outside of Little House, including commercials and minor television roles. However, she chose not to continue pursuing an acting career as an adult. Instead, she focused on building a life away from Hollywood and the pressures of fame. In 2026, Lindsay Greenbush is 55 years old and lives a private life outside the entertainment industry. Despite leaving acting early, her presence as Carrie Ingalls remains a key part of the Ingalls family story and continues to be fondly remembered by longtime fans of the series. 14. Katherine MacGregor. Harriet Olsen. Katherine MacGregor was born on January 12, 1925 in Glendale, California, and was already a seasoned actress when she joined Little House on the Prairie in 1974. She was 49 years old when she began portraying Harriet Olsen, the loud, opinionated, and unforgettable wife of Nels Olsen. Katherine brought sharp comedic timing and dramatic flair to the role, making Harriet one of the most recognizable characters on the show. She remained part of the series throughout its entire run. After Little House ended in 1983, she largely stepped away from acting and devoted much of her life to spiritual pursuits. Katherine MacGregor passed away on November 13, 2018 at the age of 93. Although she is no longer with us, her portrayal of Harriet Olsen remains iconic. In 2026, her legacy continues to live on through reruns of the series and the unforgettable performances that made her character both frustrating and deeply entertaining. 13. Leslie Landon. Etta Plum. Leslie Landon was born on October 11, 1961 in Los Angeles, California, and is the daughter of Michael Landon. She joined Little House on the Prairie in its later seasons, portraying Etta Plum, a lively and independent character who brought fresh energy to the show. Leslie was around 21 years old when she appeared on the series, already familiar with the television environment due to her upbringing. Although her role was relatively brief, her presence added depth to the expanding world of Walnut Grove. After Little House, Leslie chose not to pursue a long acting career. Instead, she shifted her focus toward education and professional development outside of Hollywood. In 2026, Leslie Landon is 64 years old and lives a private life away from the entertainment industry. While her time on Little House was short, she remains part of the show's extended legacy, particularly as a member of the Landon family closely tied to the series. 12. Richard Bull. Nels Olson. Richard Bull was born on June 26, 1924 in Zion, Illinois, and joined Little House on the Prairie in 1974 at the age of 50. He portrayed Nels Olson, the kind-hearted and long-suffering husband of Harriet Olsen, quickly becoming a fan favorite. Richard's performance brought warmth, humor, and moral balance to the series, often serving as a voice of reason in Walnut Grove. Before Little House, he appeared in numerous television series and films, including The Time Tunnel and Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. After the show ended in 1983, Richard continued acting in television and film well into his later years. He passed away on February 3, 2014 at the age of 89. Though gone, his portrayal of Nels Olson remains one of the most beloved performances in Little House on the Prairie history. 11. Victor French. Isaiah Edwards. Victor French was born on December 4, 1934 in Santa Barbara, California. He was already an experienced actor when Little House on the Prairie premiered in 1974, making him 39 years old when he first appeared as Isaiah Edwards. His character quickly became one of the most complex and emotionally driven figures in Walnut Grove, known for his kindness, inner struggles, and strong moral compass. Victor remained closely connected to the series throughout its run and also collaborated frequently with Michael Landon on other projects. After Little House ended in 1983, Victor continued working in television, most notably co-starring with Landon in Highway to Heaven. Sadly, Victor French passed away on June 15, 1989 at the age of 54 after battling lung cancer. Although his life was cut short, his performances left a powerful legacy. In 2026, Victor French is remembered as one of the emotional anchors of Little House on the Prairie, and Isaiah Edwards remains one of the show's most heartfelt and human characters. 10. Brenda Lou Turnbaugh. Grace Ingalls. Brenda Lou Turnbaugh was born on August 16, 1978 in the United States, and shared the role of Grace Ingalls with her twin sister, Wendi Lou Turnbaugh. She was only 1 year old when she began appearing on Little House on the Prairie in 1979, making her one of the youngest cast members in the series. Grace Ingalls was the youngest daughter of the Ingalls family, and while her role was small, she completed the family dynamic during the later seasons. Brenda appeared on the show until its conclusion in 1983, meaning she was around 5 years old when the series ended. After Little House, Brenda did not continue acting and grew up entirely outside the entertainment industry. In 2026, Brenda Lou Turnbaugh is 47 years old and lives a private life away from the spotlight. Despite her limited screen time, her role as Grace Ingalls remains an important part of the Ingalls family legacy. 9. Wendi Lou Turnbaugh. Grace Ingalls. Wendi Lou Turnbaugh was born on August 16, 1978, and, like her twin sister Brenda, shared the role of Grace Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie. She was also just 1 year old when she began appearing on the series in 1979. Together, the twins portrayed the youngest Ingalls daughter during the show's final seasons. Wendi remained part of the series until it ended in 1983, making her about 5 years old at the time. After Little House concluded, Wendi did not pursue an acting career and chose a life completely outside Hollywood. Unlike many former child actors, she has remained largely unknown to the public in adulthood. In 2026, Wendi Lou Turnbaugh is 47 years old and lives a quiet and private life. Though she left acting at a very young age, her contribution as Grace Ingalls helped complete one of the most iconic families in television history. 8. Jason Bateman. James Cooper Ingalls. Jason Bateman was born on January 14, 1969 in Rye, New York, and joined Little House on the Prairie in 1981 at just 12 years old. He portrayed James Cooper Ingalls, an orphan who was adopted by the Ingalls family during the later seasons of the series. Jason's performance stood out for its emotional maturity and natural screen presence. When Little House ended in 1983, Jason was 14 years old and already on the path to a major acting career. Shortly afterward, he rose to fame in television comedies and dramas, eventually becoming one of Hollywood's most respected actors and directors. His later work includes Arrested Development, Ozark, and numerous feature films. In 2026, Jason Bateman is 57 years old and remains highly active in the entertainment industry. His time on Little House on the Prairie marked the very beginning of a long and successful career. 7. Kevin Hagen. Dr. Hiram Baker. Kevin Hagen was born on April 3, 1928 in Chicago, Illinois. He was 46 years old when he joined Little House on the Prairie in 1974 as Dr. Hiram Baker, the town's trusted physician. Kevin's calm and compassionate portrayal made Dr. Baker a stabilizing presence in Walnut Grove. Before Little House, he appeared in numerous television series, including Gunsmoke and Mission Impossible. Kevin remained part of the show for its entire run, concluding his role in 1983 at the age of 55. After Little House, he continued acting in television and film throughout the 1980s and 1990s. Kevin Hagen passed away on July 9, 2005 at the age of 77. In 2026, he is remembered fondly for bringing warmth, reliability, and humanity to one of the show's most respected characters. 6. Linwood Boomer. Adam Kendall. Linwood Boomer was born on October 9, 1955, in Vancouver, Canada. He joined Little House on the Prairie in 1978 at around 22 years old, portraying Adam Kendall, the teacher who later becomes the husband of Mary Ingalls. Adam's storyline was one of the most emotional arcs on the series, including his blindness and struggles to build an independent life. Linwood brought intelligence and sensitivity to the role, quickly becoming a fan favorite. When Little House ended in 1983, he was 27 years old. After leaving acting, Linwood made a surprising career shift. He moved behind the scenes and became a television writer and producer. His greatest success came years later as the creator of the hit series Malcolm in the Middle, which became one of the most acclaimed sitcoms of its era. In 2026, Linwood Boomer is 70 years old and is widely respected as a creative force in television history. His journey from actor to influential show creator makes him one of the most fascinating success stories connected to Little House on the Prairie. 5. Dabbs Greer. Reverend Robert Alden. Dabbs Greer was born on April 2, 1917 in Fairview, Missouri, and was a veteran actor long before Little House on the Prairie began. He was 57 years old when he first appeared in 1974 as Reverend Robert Alden, the moral and spiritual guide of Walnut Grove. Dabbs brought quiet wisdom and warmth to the role, becoming a steady presence throughout the series. Before Little House, he had appeared in hundreds of television episodes and films, including westerns and classic dramas. When the show ended in 1983, Dabbs was 66 years old and continued acting well into his later years. He passed away on April 28, 2007 at the age of 90. In 2026, Dabbs Greer is remembered as one of the hardest-working character actors in television history. His portrayal of Reverend Alden remains a symbol of compassion and guidance in the world of Little House on the Prairie. 4. Allison Balson. Nancy Olson. Allison Balson was born on November 7, 1969 in New York City. She joined Little House on the Prairie in 1981 at just 11 years old, portraying Nancy Olson, the adopted daughter of Harriet and Nels Olson. Nancy quickly became one of the most disliked characters on the show, often seen as even more mischievous than Nellie. Allison's performance brought a new level of tension and conflict to the later seasons. When the series ended in 1983, she was 13 years old. After Little House, Allison appeared in a few additional acting roles, but soon chose to step away from Hollywood. She later pursued a career outside the entertainment industry, working in finance and business. In 2026, Allison Balson is 56 years old and lives a private professional life. Despite her short time on the series, her portrayal of Nancy Olson left a strong impression and added a darker edge to the final seasons of Little House on the Prairie. 3. Hersha Parady. Alice Garvey. Hersha Parady was born on May 25, 1945, in Toledo, Ohio. She joined Little House on the Prairie in 1977 at the age of 32, portraying Alice Garvey, the devoted wife of Jonathan Garvey. Hersha brought warmth and emotional depth to the role, becoming an important part of the extended Ingalls family. Her character's tragic death in a fire remains one of the most heartbreaking moments in the entire series. When her time on the show ended in 1980, Hersha was 35 years old. After Little House, she continued acting in television and film, though never escaping the emotional impact of her role as Alice. Hersha Parady passed away on August 13, 2023 at the age of 78. In 2026, she is remembered for delivering one of the most emotional performances in Little House on the Prairie, leaving behind a legacy defined by compassion and heartbreak. 2. Karen Grassle. Caroline Ingalls. Karen Grassle was born on February 25, 1942, in Berkeley, California. She was 32 years old when Little House on the Prairie premiered in 1974, and she began portraying Caroline Ingalls, the strong and loving matriarch of the Ingalls family. Karen's performance provided emotional stability and moral grounding throughout the entire series. When the show ended in 1983, she was 41 years old. After Little House, Karen continued acting on stage and television, while also becoming an advocate for women's issues and social causes. She later wrote a memoir reflecting on her life, career, and experiences on the show. In 2026, Karen Grassle is 84 years old and remains a beloved figure among fans. Her portrayal of Caroline Ingalls continues to represent strength, resilience, and quiet determination, making her one of the most respected characters in television history. 1. Michael Landon. Charles Ingalls. Michael Landon was born on October 31, 1936 in Forest Hills, New York, and became the heart and soul of Little House on the Prairie. He was 37 years old when the series premiered in 1974, and he stepped into the role of Charles Ingalls, the devoted father and moral center of the show. More than just an actor, Michael was also the executive producer, writer, and director of many episodes, shaping the emotional tone that defined the series. When Little House ended in 1983, he was 46 years old and already considered a television legend. Before and after Little House, Michael achieved massive success with series like Bonanza and later Highway to Heaven. Sadly, Michael Landon passed away on July 1, 1991 at the age of 54 after a battle with pancreatic cancer. Although his life ended far too soon, his influence on television storytelling remains enormous. In 2026, Michael Landon would have been 89 years old. His legacy lives on through reruns, devoted fans, and the timeless lessons he brought to millions of households. For many viewers, he will forever be remembered as America's television father.